The campsite, I seen these glowing red eyes on the left side of the ridge. Howdy folks, this is Marcus Chapman and welcome to the Toms Creek Falls area. Over time, over the years, there's been several sightings since the 1970s of Bigfoot. Plus, another piece of history, to your right over here, there's a caved-in mica mine. I've hiked into it several times, but since Hurricane Helene hit, it's impassable to get in. But the falls right behind me has been like a backyard ever since I was a kid. And plus, in the Woodlawn North Cove area, this area has a lot to do with the Over the Mountain Men, the Over the Mountain Trail, which is just up the road a few miles from here. But this area alone, back in 2017, I was with a group called Bigfoot 911, and we had a group of 16, and we ended up having an encounter in these parts. Plus, who knows how many times I've took pictures of this area, and I've had people point out Bigfoot standing behind the trees up at the top of the falls. This area is peaceful, but just up the mountain is where I've had a lot of my encounters with my mom and dad. But one encounter specifically I had real up close was back in May of 2020 on Memorial Day weekend during COVID. Me and some friends of mine went camping, but on our way in the campsite I seen these glowing red eyes on the left side of the hill across from the camp. I asked my buddy if he seen what I saw, and he seen the exact same thing. Throughout that night, after we got done cooking and went to bed and stuff, I woke up about 4:30 in the morning. I see that glowing set of red eyes inside camp. Then I'm like, okay. So then I go back to sleep for a little bit, wake up at 7 o'clock. We was getting everything packed up, and that's when my friend noticed a rock placed on the corner of him and his old lady's blanket. So we're packing up. I've got cold chills up and down my spine because I had a feeling I was being watched. But no sooner than I left this area, I didn't feel them cold chills. It's like Bigfoot, they can zap you in some sort of way I can't even explain. I mean, I've walked through these woods in the daytime. There's a trail further up the mountain from here. I've walked back, and back in 21, I heard vocals down below me, and that pretty much told me I needed to get out of there or something was going to happen. Talk about cold chills. It's interesting understanding, that there's Bigfoot in the area, and, the reported sightings in the McDowell County area, plus further up the mountain in Avery County, Mitchell County, Yancey County, all your mountain counties. It's very interesting, but this area alone would be ground zero for me as where I've had encounters up close and personal. Hearing the vocals, finding the footprints, hearing the tree knocks. It's just, I know they're here. They don't want to be, they're the best hide and seek champion there is around. They stay within 20 yards of you in the woods. You can sense that they're there, but you can't see it. So, it's just, something I've been into for years. I've done some time in the woods, ain't done a whole lot, like I should have, but I know they're here. And they don't want to be, they like a good peace offering just like anybody else. Now, just down the road, where my mama lives, back in 2021, she had a Bigfoot standing about 8 foot tall on her property right by the light post there by where her water well was. She kept opening the door, figuring out what it was, and she finally figured out what it was. Because she would always, down below on her property, she would always leave out trail mix, apples, oranges. She had a feed bucket down there, she had a chair down there, and right now there's a rainbow arch over the chair. And who knows how many X crosses in the trees down there by that chair. They're around. I ain't gonna lie about that. But I mean, in this area, to some people that don't know what they're dealing with, even hunters that's hunted these woods for years, claim ain't no such thing. I beg to defer that when I've actually had a few encounters in the area by hearing the vocals. I've heard, there was one time at the campsite I was set up at, me, Mom, and Dad were sitting around the fire, and we was getting the vocals off a hill above the camp. So I'd vocal back. Carried a conversation with it for about 10 minutes, and I thought that was pretty cool. But they're really, I mean, they're curious. But one thing I do know is just up a road up Pepper's Creek was featured on that show Finding Bigfoot years ago. That had to have been about 2017, 2018 when they filmed that. And yeah, I thought that was interesting, which I've had a vocal up that area. Back New Year's Eve of 2019, I parked there at the tracks. I was on my way down the mountain. I let off a vocal. I hear a pack of coyotes. Then I let off another vocal. Then I got a vocal response from a Bigfoot nearby.
Down below this area, you got the South Mountains just below it, and you got the legend of the Navi Bigfoot.
Yeah, down in Kaiser.
And when you go up above this area, like you said, you got the Blue Ridge Parkway up above here.
You got the Parkway Dunks.
Yeah, and you got the Appalachian Mountain Chain and the Blue Ridge Mountains running into each other. So it's nothing but a vast wilderness, and you know there's plenty of places for them to hide and travel all the way down to the lowlands where you got around the South Mountains in Cleveland County and Rutherford County, but then they can go all the way up and hit the Blue Ridge Mountains and hit the Appalachian Mountains, and they can go pretty much anywhere.
Exactly. I mean, they're everywhere. I mean, they move in groups like families. I mean, every once in a while you'll get a sighting of one, but also there was a few years ago up this way. It's actually about 2019. I had a little campfire set up, had some friends sitting around, and we heard a bunch of juveniles. Sounded like kids laughing or monkeys chattering. I mean, I thought was pretty interesting because they was literally right there, not far from the camp. They was real close. They were just running the woods, playing, and having a good time. But now, you know, go down to what Dwight was talking about the South Mountain Range. Last year, up old CC Road, there's an old church up there that's said to be haunted. Me and my one lady friend that I was seeing at the time, and her kids, we went up there and checked that church out. I walked in, looked around, but as I was walking out, the door just slams right behind me like the church is said to be haunted. But also, I kept hearing a whippoorwill. There was no other sounds other than that whippoorwill sound. So I'd make vocals going back towards it, then I'd get a response. I mean, you got your deer, your bear, and other things people say that don't exist, and I know it does, is black panther in this area. The black panther, they'll run from this area down the Vane Mountain in mating season, because you have them down there and you have them up here. My mom and dad, they've seen black panther going up our driveway back about 20 years ago. A mama and 3 cubs.
I've seen one black panther in the South Mountains when I was young, and that thing jumped about 15 stairs that went down a hill on a trail in a Christian campground. It jumped them 15 steps up, which was about 15, 16, 17 feet up in one leap and disappeared. And we all saw it. Me and all the kids at the Christian camp saw it. So I definitely believe Black Panthers in this area, no doubt about that. Tell me one thing, Marcus. You talked a little bit about a family unit. So how do you feel about, and this will probably be more theories than what we know as fact, but what's your theory on a large Bigfoot male with a family versus the rogue Bigfoot male? Do you think that they stay in a small family unit, or do you think the males just rogue and kind of run around and look for females? I mean, do you have an opinion on that or a theory on that?
It could be either or, to be honest. Because every once in a while you'll see sightings of one, and that's usually the alpha male. Mm-hmm. Occasionally but when it comes to like the female Sasquatch and the juvenile Sasquatch, you hear them more than anything. But up here top of Wiggins Ridge, I've seen movement of 2 or more Bigfoot up on Wiggins Ridge. From hearing the alpha male a few times, plus hearing the juvenile squatch, that's only led to determine that there's a tribe, a family of Bigfoot in this area. Because they travel, because there's a gravel road down the road from here, you take it to the top gate, you go from the top gate all the way back into Armstrong Creek. That's about a 3-mile hike.
And up on Peppers Creek, you got the railroad tracks, and you got, 3 or 4 big tunnels that go through there, and that's nothing but woods. And the Blue Ridge Parkway is like right above it. And that's a long way for them to travel over the railroad tracks and through them tunnels. That's a lot of hiding places.
Oh, yeah.
And a big travel area they can get from point A to point B pretty quickly.
And see, that's one thing when I've heard talk of the tunnel giants. See, the CSX rail line that runs from North Cove up to Spruce Pine goes through about 17 tunnels on the way up the mountain. There's more tunnels before you get to Peppers Creek. But that's, in that area, 17 tunnels going up to Spruce Pine. And since hurricane hit last year in September, with all the trees down, it makes you wonder, how are the Bigfoot reacting to a natural disaster?
Exactly. I was going to ask you, have you heard or got any information? Have they changed their patterns or routines since Hurricane Helene struck?
My mom sent me a picture the other day up near Wiggins Ridge where she found a footprint. So I know they're still traveling that area, but I wonder how long it took for them to regroup to start traveling again. That's always a good question that nobody knows the answer to.
Yeah, exactly. Nobody really knows what the answer to that is. You got to get out in the woods and research long term.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of look at that. Yeah.
And see, with the cryptids, this area I know is loaded with Bigfoot, but now we go Smoky Mountains, East Tennessee, like the Cades Cove area. I've been doing research on this here recently, watching right along the North Carolina-Tennessee line there in the off the trail system in Cades Cove, which I've actually heard of sightings there in Cherokee, there at Mingo Falls. Plus, now Cherokee area, not far from the Nantahala Gorge area, you have a Cherokee legend. Sioux Kaloo, which would be the Cherokee Devil, which was a form of Bigfoot that's roamed around that area for who knows how many years. I've heard of sightings over in that area. Matter of fact, back in 2022, or it might have been 2023, I went to Hillbilly Jam in Maggie Valley. I had a cabin up Mile High Campground right over on the Cherokee Reserve. The elk will walk up within feet of you, Cap.
It's amazing how they can, and I've had some experiences where it sounded like a freight train going through the woods, but there's been times where I felt like I was being watched.
And didn't hear a thing.
And I felt like whatever it was close and didn't hear anything. For something that big, they could be as quiet as they want to be or as loud as they want to be. I think when they're being loud, they're really just trying to tell you, hey, I'm there, and they're just trying to warn you off.
With the loud part crashing through the woods, my very first time up here doing research back in 2018, because I got my mom and dad into doing the research, but we was set up at this one camp, and I decided to let off a vocal. Next thing you know, I hear something, sounds like it's either charging up the mountain or down the mountain towards me. So I took off running back towards Mom and Dad, and you got my pants about to fall off. I never been scared in my entire life in these woods. But that particular moment, I knew there was something bigger than me, and I might have spooked. But now, October of 19, had a feller with Dirty Sasquatch, lives down Dodgersville.
Talking about Robert Cox.
Yep, Robert Cox. He come up and investigated the area with me, Mom, and Dad. You've got other cryptids around. You've got all sorts of tales and folklores of the Blue Ridge Mountains and the Appalachians. There's no telling what's out there, to be honest.
Yeah, you got the legend of the moon-eyed people. You got the little people. There's even some legends about the Bear Man, which you don't really get a whole lot of ink. You also got the Yahoo. You got a whole lot.
Yahoo would be up West Virginia one. Then you got, speaking of West Virginia, Point Pleasant, Mothman.
Exactly.
Plus, Grafton, West Virginia, the Grafton Monster. I mean, there's all sorts of legends and tales and folklore. It makes you wonder if it's actually real.
Yeah, here in North Carolina, you got the Beast of Bladenboro, which they think is like a wampus cat. Now, do you have any experiences? I know Black Panthers can fit into
wampus
that mold.
Cat, that's more eastern North Carolina. And that's said to be related to the Bigfoot.
You think a wampus cat could be a four-legged Bigfoot, a one that goes on four legs, or do you think that that's just an experience maybe they have with the juveniles? The juveniles may go on four legs
that's
more.
That's a possibility. And see, and you've got 5-toe and 3-toe Sasquatch. But most of your 3-toes are found down southeast. Up here, the prints I've found's been 5-toed.
Didn't they, I think when they casted some of the Boggy Creek prints, I think it was 3 or 4 toes. Yep. Some of them were.
But they're around. If they want themselves to be known, they'll let you know that they're around. But other than that, I believe that they're just trying to observe what's going on. They are attracted to music. They are attracted to children's voices. Because there's been, sightings where a kid has saw it.
They're very curious when people are camping, got a fire going, making some noise. They're very curious.
They're very curious. Want to see what's going on, see if they're going to be of any harm or if it's going to be peaceful. See it's one of them. If you leave, like fruit or some type of food out, they will come back and usually leave couple sticks or some kind of peace offering. It's something that's been around since the Native Americans were in this area. Because I've heard legends and tales of the Bigfoot and the Native Americans doing peace offerings and trades. So there's a lot of legends, there's a lot of folklore, and there's a lot of truth about Bigfoot sightings in North Carolina. I mean, it wouldn't be hard. You take a non-believer into these woods, then they start hearing the stuff that we've heard. They'll start believing sooner or later.
Tell you what, how many people that don't believe still don't want to stay out in the woods for a night and do an investigation? They're still too scared.
Right.
Because in the back of their minds, they're scared that it might be real.
And see, we had a couple of wildfires over on the other side of over Old Linville Road area, Bald Knob. I had a buddy of mine tell me he was on that fire, that he could hear vocals while they was fighting that fire. So, okay, fire does to them like it does to the deer and all the other animals. It forces them out of their habitat. They move, they travel. So wherever they're gonna go, you're gonna hear action during that time. You're gonna see the bear movements, deer movements. Now, I've even seen in the middle of summer, spring and summer, I've seen coyotes across the road at 221 North going towards Linville Falls and the Linville Caverns area. That is, to be able to get a daytime sighting of a coyote crossing the road, that's something else.
Oh, yeah.
That's one of them things you don't see much.
There's been a lot of reports recently, maybe in the last year and a half, of them crossing across Highway 64. Have you heard anything about that on your end?
I haven't heard much
of it.
I haven't heard much on that.
Of course, 64 cuts right through the Appalachians,
Oh yeah, it cuts right through the South Mountain area. From Morganton to Rutherford.
It goes all the way up through, I think, close to the Franklin area and pretty deep into western North Carolina.
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're in the mountains. That's how I look at it. When you're in the mountains, you never know what's going to be running through here.
Well, Marcus, man, I appreciate you coming on board and talking a little bit. And if we could, I'd like to have you again in the future and talk a little bit more about Bigfoot.
Sounds good.
I know that there's other areas up here and even up above these falls where there's been sightings. Maybe we can go on site in the future and discuss it right on site, some of these places.
Sounds good to me.
I want to thank you for joining us, man. Thank you.
No problem.
Yes, sir.